Hello, so today we are looking at the tables practice. So this is largely covering things like table of contents, table of figures, and those are the big new outcomes you're going to get some practice with here. But I've also mixed in some of the content from last week, notably quick parts, because it's a hard one to get in there. So you've got a set of instructions, which I gave to you through Blackboard. I have them printed out sitting next to me, and it's going to make this go a lot faster because I don't have to worry about flipping back and forth. But without further ado, let's get to the solution. So for the body of the document, I want to set the paragraphs to keep lines together. So what I mean by that is not much at this point, but once I get to have some formatting, it'll do something. But let's do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rest of the document is that stuff. So keep lines together. This is kind of a cool one. It's under the paragraph dialog box, so you can get to this many ways. It's under line and page breaks, and it's keep lines together right there, which doesn't look like it did anything. It might do something at a later point, but this is going to make it so your paragraphs never get split between a page. Alright, so now the quick parts. So replace author name, so I'm going to select author name. And I'm going to head over to Insert, Quick Parts, Document Property, and Author. So notice that's a pre-populated field. This right here, under Published Date, if you click on that, you can see that it's not just normal text, it is a field. If you pull that down, there's today's date. So that's a little bit of practice with Quick Parts, which again isn't this week, but it's one of those things I'll give you some practice with when I can. So now, let's get into the tables part of this. So format all the green text as heading 1. So what that means, quite simply, is just click anywhere, heading 1. Notice I don't have to select the entire paragraph because these are paragraph styles. Alright, so there we go. Styled all those as heading 1s. Now inserting captions. So I'm going to insert a caption on this. There's several ways to insert captions. I am going to stick to the References tab because I think that's really in the spirit of what this is. So I go insert caption. Leave that figure 1 there, I type the space, and I say parking lot. I go OK, so I'm not asked to do anything more than that. And then I'm going to head down to this picture right here. I'm going to insert a caption, and this one is costs. OK. So the reason I did that is because I want those to appear in my table of figures. Similarly, the reason I formatted these heading 1s is because I want them to be in my table of contents. Alright, working our way down. With my cursor at the end of the last page, so right there, I'm going to insert a page break. Now there's a keyboard shortcut for this, but I like to be explicit. It doesn't need to be a section break because I'm not changing the formatting. Now I'm on a new page, and I am ready to insert a works cited. So head over to the References tab again. It's under Bibliography. There is works cited. Notice it has a title. Everything's good. Now I'm saying insert another page break. So page break, it's under page layout. And on this page, I'm going to insert a table of figures. So that's on References, table of figures. Now here I'm asking for a bit of formatting. So notice this use hyperlinks instead of page numbers under web preview. I'm going to uncheck that. It's not really important, but it's kind of weird looking if you don't do that. It's not going to show the page numbers in this view. And then I'm also asking for this tab leader. Yours might be on none by default. I'm going to go here. This is like a number 2 leader. These are the same things you have available for tab stops, which should make sense. There are some formats in here. I'm just going to go from template, and there's my table of figures. Now notice that the table of figures doesn't have a title on it, which I think is kind of weird. So it's your job to write it, table of figures. And that doesn't look like a title. But if I want this to look like a title and maybe also show up in my table of contents, I'm going to mark it as a heading 1. Notice that this is already marked as a heading 1 because it's going to be in your table of contents. Alright, so we're almost done. Now we're going to this step. So at the very beginning of my document, I want to create a new page. Some people do this, but really I'm just going to place my cursor at the beginning of my document and I'm going to insert a page break. That's essentially exactly what I want to do. Now here I am on a new page. Notice I'm centered because I seem to have inherited that style. Well, let's see if it causes me any trouble or not. You can see that's the problem. So if you wanted to fix that, if you were worried about it, I'd just click on normal, reset myself. I don't know if that actually would have caused any trouble, but all right. References, table of contents, I'm asking for an automatic one, and there we go. There's my table of contents. Notice it's picking up all these things because they are marked as headings. Now the second to last step is I have to update my table of figures. Now here's what I mean by that. This parking lot is clearly on page 2, and this is clearly on page 3, but sure enough, in my table of figures it shows as 1 and 2, so it's not smart enough to realize that things changed around it. So if you click on it, it's a field, so the whole thing highlights. If you right click, update field. I don't see any harm in updating the entire table. If there were more figures, this would be important. Since it's not, I don't have to do that, but I will, and now it's 2 and 3, so now I'm up to date. Which brings us to the last step, and that is headers. So I'm asking for a particular header here on every page except the first. So if I wanted to know, so I'm knowing that I do not want one on the first page, so I'm probably going to head down to the second page. Double click in the header. I'm asking for a right align, so that means tab. Some people use these alignment tools. That's not really what they're for. There's tab. And this is a bit of a chicken and the egg situation here. So I want lowercase Roman numerals. So I don't know how to tell you to do this. I like to do the number first and format it second, but let's just go format first. And so you notice this dialog box right here is very intuitive, actually. You usually don't go here. Show you where that was again. That was under page number, format page numbers. Very straightforward dialog box. Notice I didn't do anything though. Like I was saying, it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation because you format them and then you apply them, or you apply them and then format them. For some reason I jumped up to page 1, which I didn't want to. Here I am on page 2 in the location I want to be, and now I go to page number, current position, plain, and notice that it is formatted as I wanted it to be formatted. Also notice, oh, there's one on the first page, which is not what I wanted. So I'm going to double click back in that header again, and I'm going to check this checkbox. And that little magic trick right there makes the headers go away on the first page. Now I said something about chicken or the egg. It's because I could have inserted the page number first and formatted it second, or you can format it and then insert it. It doesn't matter. And that is the table practice. So the important thing here is that we made a table of contents, made a table of figures. Those are new skills, but we also got a chance to work with some somewhat advanced headers and footers, or at least headers. We talked about styles, and we also talked a little bit about quick parts.